Bobby, what's your view on this?
So when I think about this does this policy reduce crime and make communities feel safer? And I think actually on both counts it's no. Because while we definitely need transparency with our policing, I think that this policy actually fuels prejudice and actually tears our communities apart, especially where the UK is currently quite febrile and quite tense. We want our communities to feel tighter, but I think this policy actually makes people feel isolated and separated and divisive. And while this policy is meant to be filling an information gap, I think actually does the opposite, because it makes people angry and fuels hatred. And what this policy, I think, again...
Despite most crimes being committed by white British nationals, I suppose?
Because of the nature of social media, people pick up on crimes committed by ethnic minorities, and then they'll say, yes, so maybe these gangs, these murders, and then therefore actually I think it accentuates harms and divisions in our society.
Cristo, what's your view?
I disagree. I think that what this actually does, I think nothing fuels division and prejudice in society than crimes that are ignored because of people's ethnicities. And we've seen that. We've seen that with grooming gangs, for instance. Those were horrific crimes. And one of the reasons that those crimes were able to be gotten away with was because the ethnicity of the perpetrators, this is particularly Pakistani Muslim grooming gangs, were ignored because of people having worries about tensions around those things. That, I think, created such anger among people that it almost, the pussyfooting around that had the opposite effect. I think the Southport case, really well-known case where an information vacuum led to people jumping to their own conclusions. But also, I think overall, I think people of different ethnicities being in the UK there have been some great benefits to that. But also, sometimes there have been some issues that have arisen from that, and you don't solve problems unless you're able to have the information to solve problems. There are certain crimes that are specific or more specific to certain communities. So, for instance, look at knife crime. Knife crime, especially here in London, is a real problem that predominantly faces young black males.
As victims, crucially.
As victims, as well as the gang violence as perpetrators as well. Now,
I don't know. I think statistically that's not accurate. I think statistically we know, and ethnicity is difficult, isn't it? Because it isn't recorded in all cases, so we don't know this for sure. But victim-wise, it is predominantly black young men.
But I would argue that's because we have a lot more information about the victims, because we record a victim's ethnicity immediately.